2018 saw the conclusion of the Prime Wars trilogy. As such, Hasbro released 3 special edition deluxes as Amazon exclusives, each commemorating a part of the trilogy. Punch-Counterpunch represents power of the Primes, though unlike its mainline deluxes, he doesn't combine. It's for the best. If you know the character, this toy has enough on its plate as is. If you don't know, Punch is the Autobot's double agent with the ability to transform into a Decepticon, Counterpunch, changing in both looks and persona. Cool concept, though I have to ask, how has Punch not blown his cover right off the bat? Ignoring the similar names, both halves of this split personality share the same alt mode. You'd think some bot would pick up on this. The first Punch-Counterpunch toy turned into a Pontiac Fiero. This is apparently some amalgamation of a Camaro, an Infiniti G37, with the wheels of a Volk TE37. Honestly, all you need is a sleek blue sports car with red rims and you're set. And it is a nice looking car. It would seem they were going for a semi-realistic approach, since they sculpted in hood vents, wing mirrors, door handles and so forth, and cast the windows and headlights in translucent plastic. Deco-wise, it's a bit lacking in paint, but what is painted, like the taillights and grille, is well done. The blue chassis is a calm, mid to deep shade. Consequently, the red hubcaps look odd. On most blue cars they'd be black or silver, but again, it fits the character, and this was a time when G1 toys were increasingly garish. The set has 3 accessories. Sadly, it only comes with the orange blaster for Punch and not a second black gun for Counterpunch. It can sit on top or store under the front of the car. Instead, we get Prime Armor and the Prime Master Primer Prime, hence why he's branded under Power of the Primes, even though Blastoff and Repugnus have their own Prime Masters. Like its kin, the armor turns into a hand for any Prime Wars combiner. The translucent cover is removable, and doubles as a pretty flimsy weapon as you'll see later. Primer Prime himself differs from the version released in the Throne of the Prime set, in terms of paint apps and the use of translucent plastic. This'll go down well for some, I'm sure. The Prime Masters in general look, pose, and transform like the Titan Masters, except instead of disembodied heads, we get sparks bearing the appropriate Prime's emblem, sculpted wonderfully I might add. So this is presumably the symbol of light. They place inside the decoy armor, and this comes more into play later. Here, however, the armor plugs on top, resulting in thrusters? Hey, he can't combine, might as well make the most of this. Lastly, there are a couple of posts at the rear for any Prime or Titan Master to hitch a ride. Before I go on, some context is needed. The first attempt to modernize Punch-Counterpunch was the 2010 Collectors Club exclusive, which utilized the Universe 2 Sunstreaker and Sideswipe mold, which was perfect. You had a sculpt with 2 different robot designs, and here's a character with 2 bot modes. Sign me up, please! Too bad so little was tweaked it just didn't work. While you had the brand new head, the fists weren't retooled to look correct in both bot modes, so one would have backwards hands, and the alternate leg configuration they came up with for Punch didn't allow the figure to stand without breaking his knees. There's a chunk of the roof that blocks the foot from straightening out. And that's not getting into minor issues like the visible screws in Punch mode. I bring this up because this figure pretty much averts all those problems, since it was designed to be Punch-Counterpunch from the ground up. The one recurring trick in all 3 toys is that the helmet tilts both ways, revealing the optics of the other half. Instead of some alternate leg transformation, the knees are designed to bend both ways, resulting in slight gaps in the shins, but at least the figure can stand either way. Finally, instead of having 2 sets of arms, or 1 set with 1 directional hands, here they mostly share the same arms, except for the fists, which rotate accordingly. The bot modes are an homage to both the G1 toy, and in what I believe is a rarity for Hasbro, the Japanese Headmasters anime, especially with the overall head sculpt. Punch wears a faceplate while Counterpunch has a mouth, which fits both sources. However, Punch kinda resembles Optimus Prime with the horned helmet, while Counterpunch's optics and mouth are painted red and silver respectively, all of which are specific to the anime. Punch has his usual blue and yellow-orange color scheme with red fists, with similar sculpting on his upper body. Counterpunch is mostly blue, barring several paint apps, and retains the windshield chest with the Con logo smack dab in the center. Some of the paint evokes a few of the G1 Toys tampagraphs, the silver and red on Punch's thighs, the purple on Counterpunch's shins. 2/3 of the front of the car wind up on the shoulders, which are correctly splayed out for Counterpunch. As for Punch, instead of resting beside his torso, he has Laser Prime style pads, except tilted back slightly. I don't care for this, they just look out of place on an otherwise very clean figure. Well, clean unless you attach the Prime armor, which like most Power of the Primes deluxes, you get by folding down the chest panel, or panels in this case, revealing the ports. Both bots have 16 points of articulation in the exact same spots: the neck, waist, 2 joints on each shoulder, upper arm and thigh swivels, elbows, knees, and ball-jointed hips. Plus, his large footprint makes him stable, which somewhat compensates for the lack of actual feet or heel spurs in either bot mode. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the assembly error. When you first get the figure, these pieces in the shoulders are installed with the flat edge facing down when it should be up, like in this photo. The fix isn't that hard, and results in the front of the car lining up better. That's the key word though, as from what I hear, the toy still transforms fine out of the package, but for those concerned, see the link in the description box. Despite some minor qualms with the aesthetics, I have to say, this is the Punch-Counterpunch we should have gotten back in 2010, minus the whole Collectors Club exclusive part. It's still a pricey figure, again it was originally an Amazon exclusive in the States, but all 3 modes look good, the transformation's really effective for the whole double spy gimmick, both bot modes pose fine, plus the Prime armor and Master are nice inclusions, so I'd save up. And unless a Masterpiece Punch is in the works, I don't see how they'll top this.